Just as no thoroughbred race can truly begin without the musical cue to horse and rider to take their places on the track, we welcome you to the beginning of this inaugural Thoroughbred Owner Conference. Please give a warm welcome to Keeneland's bugler, Steve Buttleman, with our conference call to the post. As with all exciting events in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, we welcome you with our state song that is not only a source of pride in the place we call home, but as the horse capital of the world, this song beckons visitors from across the globe to experience the beauty, hospitality, and warmth of this special place. Please welcome members of the University of Kentucky Wildcat Marching Band under the direction of Cody Birdwhistle as they perform My Old Kentucky Home. Whether you're from New York or Los Angeles, North Dakota or South Carolina, Australia or Great Britain, the music of America welcomes all. From the hit NBC TV reality show, The Sing-Off, please join me in welcoming the University of Kentucky and Lexington's own Acousticats with America the Beautiful.
Spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee. shining sea, to shining sea.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Thoroughbred Owner Conference Master of Ceremonies is someone that has dedicated more than 40 years to thoroughbred racing in one of the most unique and memorable ways possible, through his voice. Calling over 80,000 races during his esteemed career, he has given witness through his words to the athleticism, drive, and heart of numerous thoroughbred champions. Whether at Saratoga or the Breeders' Cup, the Kentucky Derby, or the County Fairgrounds in Wisconsin, if you've heard him call a race, chances are your heart beat a little faster. And your experience of racing grew a little brighter because he guided you through with his signature baritone voice. His ever-expanding vocabulary, his fervent preparation, his sense of humor, and his appreciation for the history of the sport gave him a distinctive flair for evoking the emotion of a horse race like no one else could. Please give a warm welcome to Tom Durkin.
Thank you. Good morning. Welcome to the Bluegrass. Thank you. As Kurt Becker just mentioned, I call horse races, or I used to call horse races. I retired 45 days ago, but who's counting? And I know exactly what you're all thinking. Lord, are we ever going to get rid of this guy? And the answer is no. Because a long time ago, I got bit by a bug. I was probably about 15 or 16 years old, and that bug was horse racing. And once you get bit by that bug, it's in your blood. It never goes away. And that, I guess, is part of the reason why we're here today, to rekindle some of that love of the game and to, more importantly, bring people to ownership of thoroughbred horses. This is the very first national conference on thoroughbred ownership, and welcome all of you to it. We want to thank our sponsors, the organizers, presenting sponsors that are responsible for paying some of the bills and letting us all enjoy this great festival for the next day and a half. The Jockey Club, Naira, Stronach Group, Delmar, Keeneland, Toba, and all the various individuals and industry members that have made this thing all come together. And it's not going to be your grandfather's conference with 5 guys sitting at a table with a white tablecloth in front of it. It's not at all going to be like that. We are going to have all sorts of experts. It's going to be chock full of information. It's going to be lively. It's going to be visually very pleasing. We put a lot of work into this, and we hope that you enjoy it. Here's the all-important map, which will tell you where the sponsor suites are. You're encouraged to go and visit them, where the snacks and the beverages are, where the lunch is taking place. That's the map over on the side. You'll also find the map, of course, tells you where the restrooms are. You're probably going to need that within the next day and a half. And all sorts of stuff that's going to let you find your way around here. A lot of it's included in here. Look at this. All that stuff, all that information is in the conference magazine, which you'll find in what I have come to know, this is called a padfolio. So this is a padfolio. You learn something every day. Also in here is this mini pad. I was cautioned not to call it a maxi pad, but it's a mini pad, and if you can't quite figure out how to use it, go to the Wi-Fi area that we have set up. You find it on the map, and also they have recharging stations and an actual guy called the Geek Squad, who's going to help you do all that. And the most important piece of information you're going to have for the next day and a half is the all-important lanyard, where and when, all there. Keep it, don't lose it, you'll need it to get it around. And we've got all sorts of star power, some of the greatest people in the industry here. Now let's talk about thoroughbred ownership in a little way. It's exciting, it's exhilarating. When I was calling races 44 days ago, I always thought of races as little dramas that happened about every 20 or 25 minutes. There are protagonists and antagonists, there's plot, there's narration, and then there's that final act in the stretch, that drama that occurs from the top of the stretch down to the wire. Racing isn't predictable, and that is really one of the things that makes it so dramatic. Predictability is the enemy of drama. Favorites only win one out of every 3 races. There's enough here to make sense of horse racing, but there's enough to make it dramatic. I'll show you what I mean. Let's cue up a pretty good horse.
And Silver Max, the leader, into the final turn. Leads it by a length and a half. Syad is second, 3/4 of a length, with Grand Arch to the outside third. Optimizer fourth. Two Notch Road is fifth. And now Wise Dan looks for running room, but he's still sixth between horses. 6 lengths off the lead, a quarter mile to come, and they've all got to catch Silver Max, who's chased by Syad. Then Grand Arch. Wise Dan comes down the outside. The leader coming to the 8th pole. Here's Syad alongside of Silver Max. Grand Arch. Seek again diving to the rail. Kygan coming late. Wise Dan far outside. Wise Dan coming after Syad and Grand Arch. Wise Dan gets his head in front. The first $1 million race in Keeneland history, the Shadwell Turf Mile, to Wise Dan with a breathtaking stretch rally.
Wise Dan, the kind of equine version of caffeine. You don't need caffeine. You need Wise Dan to get your heart going. You wouldn't be here unless you felt this experience before. You wouldn't be here if you were poised to feel that feeling again. You might be here because you're curious to find out just what that feeling is. Horse racing, it's a life like no other.
The only time, literally the only time I ever suddenly realize it's been an hour or two since I've thought about my work life is when I'm at the backside in the morning. I'm being around the horses, watching them go to the track and gallop, watching them come back and walk the shed row, watching them have their morning baths. And suddenly I realize 2 hours has gone by. That doesn't happen anywhere else in my life.
I love going out in the morning. It's a great time to meet a lot of people, actually, because, you know, all the trainers are out there. There's quite a few owners out there. You meet jockeys. It's kind of the whole panorama of racing, all sort of in one place, and it's a really fun thing to see.
I had a friend who wanted to buy a horse and didn't have enough money. And I was in Hawaii, and we bought the horse at auction on the phone, and we went 50-50, and that's how it started. That horse won $500,000 and a graded stakes, and I thought it was all going to be easy. You know, I thought it's easy to pick a good horse. It's much more difficult than that.
So imagine being a major sports franchise owner, of having your own horse, your own prospect, and imagine the ability to compete at the highest level. Dreaming about the Derby, and dreaming about the Preakness, and dreaming about Saratoga, and dreaming about Breeders' Cup. There's no parameters or limits. Every man can get in, every man can win. And that's the thing that really captured me, that you can, be a part of history.
Every time I have a horse going to the gate, I get the adrenaline rush. It's the sweaty palms, the anticipation. It's hard to describe. It's euphoric. It just makes you forget about everything else, all your cares, all your worries, all your responsibilities, and it's just a good time.
It's absolutely wonderful, especially when you win one of the bigger races. And the big wins that I've had, they were unexpected. So it's just, when that happens, it's a real pleasant surprise.
Oh yeah, it's very exciting, very exciting. But it's nerve-wracking too. I mean, the butterfly effect is really pretty amazing. You don't need to do aerobics. You get your heart rate up just watching your horse on the track.
You're going to have the most fun you've ever had in any other thing you've ever done in life. It might be a little more expensive, but it's not terribly expensive either. You can do it by tiptoeing in it. The way that I got into the business is that I started with someone that I trusted and someone that I wanted to be around. And we didn't start by saying, let's go buy a great big farm and let's start with, tons of resources. We said, let's go buy a string of 6 horses and see how they do. It wasn't for a couple more years that we said, you know what, this isn't just pretty good, this is really good. And wouldn't it be great if we had a stable? And beyond that string of 6 horses, wouldn't it be great if we had a place to put that stable, and we had a barn and we had a farm, and it evolved.
If you have absolutely no background with horses, I think it's probably important to have several people involved in your team. You need to sort of pick out what kind of person you might want to have as a horse trainer, somebody that you get along well with and that you communicate with, because communication is vital in this business because there's so many things that are going on all the time, and it's important for you as an owner to be in the loop on all that.
It's like anything else. I always say my success in business is finding the right people and then depending on the right people. Take your time is my key ingredient. Compare notes, check out a few different people. But the important part is to find 2 or 3 good advisors that really have your interest at heart and are looking at the long run.
There's nothing like the adventure. There really isn't. There's nothing to me that has ever been close to the excitement of winning a horse race. I don't know what it is. There's a magical connection between the owner and this magnificent racehorse. Somehow your heart, your whole spirit goes out to them. You almost feel like it's you in the race. I mean, it's kind of an out-of-body experience.
2 years ago, a 50-to-1 shot, Mind That Bird, won the Kentucky Derby. The guy threw him in a trailer and drove across the country and said, my horse is faster than any of those other 19 horses out there. And he won. A 50-to-1 shot. There's nothing more American than that spirit of thinking that if I just have a chance, if I can just get a horse in this race, anything can happen.
For me, it's all about the horse. They will deliver all they have, and that may win a race, or it may not, but they will try to give you everything that they have. The horse has needs, and when those needs are satisfied, that horse will deliver big time. And they don't come back for contract renegotiations or anything.
Oh my God, you talk about getting your heart rate up when you're bidding on a horse or you're selling one, especially something that you're selling for, a fair bit of money. Yeah, that'll get you really fired up.
Every time a horse is born, the 30,000 thoroughbreds that are born every year, any one of them could be a winner.
It's possible to make out financially pretty well, too. You can just go to a sale and buy a horse, and it can be a Group 1 winner, it can be a Kentucky Derby winner. It happens.
I think one of the very interesting things about racing is that it's a truly international sport, and you can go anywhere in the world where there's racing, and you can show up at the races, and you will meet people that you have certainly this one thing in common with. the exact same interest and the same passion for the horse. So it doesn't really matter wherever you might be, you're at home and you're going to have a great time.
If you're looking to get into a business where you have a fighting chance to make it as a business, but you have an absolute certainty that you're going to fall in love with these magnificent animals and you're going to develop a special bond and friendships and get exposed to a way of life that will change your life for the better, then it's your business, and then you should take a look at getting into it.
I like people to experience and see if they enjoy it. I'd hate to be a pitchman, but what happens is I believe in it. I believe in the way of life it is, and I encourage people to spend more time looking into it than just jumping into it. I think if you take your time and do it right, I think it can be a lot of fun, very interesting, and very challenging.
It's a thrill, it really is. And you know, if you're lucky enough to get a horse that's a good horse, that's going to be running in the big races, I mean, it's just an unbelievable feeling.
There's not a day that I regret, and you think about the things that are important in life, and it is those relationships and those friendships that you have. It's been important on so many levels, but don't forget about fun.
The business isn't dollars and cents. You know, it's about hopes and dreams. There's just nothing quite like it.